Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that you won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the EAST Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show. With your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino. How you feeling?
It has been an interesting week, man, and I apologize to everybody if I cough because it is sounds like I've got marbles in my lungs. Kind of a weird, nasty little upper respiratory thing going on there, man.
Wow.
Yeah, not a fun time.
Yeah, doesn't sound like.
No, and I missed this week in music. You had to fly solo there. Thank you for doing that.
Well, I did the best I could, with the conditions and locations
it was
that
great.
I had to deal with.
It was awesome.
Awesome.
There
you go. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Of course, we got to thank the fans for turning everybody on. And
thank you, fans.
Please tell your friends. Share it with your friends. This is the only way this thing gets down the road.
That's right.
We need to hit a magical number so we can actually up this thing to the next level, which we really want to do.
That's right. We need your help.
We got to get to this thing, because we got to get some sponsorship. And that's important because this thing costs money.
That's right. And we enjoy doing it. We want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But we need you to turn your friends on, and your friends need to turn your friends on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're rapidly coming up on year 3, right?
No, we're ending year 3.
Jesus.
No, we're coming up on year 4. We're ending year 3.
That's right. Yes, we started in 2014, January 1st. We did the 15th. And we've done the 16th, so we've done 3 full years.
Right. January 2017 will be the beginning of the 4th year.
Yes.
So you have to help us make this, fans. You have to help us.
Yes. We need your help, man. You're the guys
that
can make this happen for us. So definitely check out old ampsandaxescast.com. Everything is there. All the social media. I removed ourselves from SoundCloud. So if you saw the SoundCloud thing, I took us off. They're really having a tough time with that organization, and I didn't need the headache. And it was a headache already. And we had it up for 3 weeks, and it was a major pain. And I was like, they're done.
Yeah, we're
sticking with our service provider, and that's the way it's going to be. And, it's awesome. Hey, we're all over the place. You can get us everywhere.
Yeah, it's easy enough where we are now.
Yes, it is. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes.
Yep.
You got a device, you got us.
And if you're listening to us, you're already on one of those services.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Just tell a friend.
That's right.
You got to tell a friend. It's a free Christmas gift. Give a friend.
Give a friend.
If you do stop by the old Amps and Axes
page.
Yeah, if you do stop by ampsandaxescast.com, make sure you click on that Amazon banner. Throw some love because that all helps, man.
It's really close to Christmas, and they're they're getting stuff out there. So if you're going to order stuff, order it through a banner, please. It helps.
Yes.
It helps.
Yes. Every little bit helps, man. We really do appreciate it, too. And, of course, when you visit the page, you got to scroll down right below the episodes.
Yes, you do.
There's two episodes. And you're going to see our good buddy from up north.
Jason Sadites.
And he gives us...
QuickLick.
There you go.
He and I are working together on a couple of things that are turning out to be very, very cool. So, Jason, thank you very much, my friend.
And
it's going to be really cool.
I'm putting up that second video of he had a whole live stream thing, or he's doing a live stream. I can't remember what time we're recording this, but there's a live stream thing coming up. And I'm going to try to obtain that and put that up on the webpage, too.
He's already done it, from what I know.
Okay.
It was at the Godin. It was a live stream from the Godin factory.
Okay.
I believe it happened this past Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. And the way that these episodes run, it's a little off time, but we're good.
Yes.
It'll be there.
Yeah.
It'll be up on our site.
It should be available. And if not, we'll ask him how we get it so we can put it up for him.
Yeah, man.
So, because I want to see it too. I didn't have the opportunity to see it. I do want to see it.
Yeah, I was somewhere in the midst of seeing rainbows and stuff because, banging 100-degree fever.
I told you got to stop doing that acid, Mick.
Exactly. I wish that was the case, Jeff. So one quick thing before we get to our guest. There's a video that I wanted to show you. It's on Guitar Aficionado.
Nice.
Love Guitar Aficionado, by the way. Those guys over there, they do a real class act on how they put that magazine out.
Yes.
They got some cool stuff on there. Very GQ for guitar. Anyway,
it's a lifestyle publication.
Yes, it is, and that's how they classify it too, which is very cool.
There you go.
Anyway, you scroll down on their front page right now at this particular moment, and you will see a video. It says the Guitar Factory in England, 1965.
1965, yeah.
Now, this is a video. I'll put it up on the webpage with the episode, but the audio is just classic. So if you give us just 2 minutes here, we'll just let this roll, and then when it's done, we'll comment on it. But anyway, so here is the video of guitar makers in 1965 in England.
Now a new trade calling for some of the same contour drafting skills is booming in Britain, guitar making. A year ago, our beat groups were importing their instruments from Holland. Today, because of the fame these kids have acquired, we're not only making them, but we're selling them to countries which once monopolized their manufacture. An electric guitar can be solid with just enough space grouted out to hold the electromagnetic pickups. There will be 2 miles of fine wire in each of these music boxes, and a dozen different craftsmen will work on them in turn. All this to make a bedlam of adolescent noise. The neck of the guitar, with its fingerboard, is the critical unit. It must remain dead true under the tension of 6 heavy-gauge strings. Nickel-silver frets must be hand-fitted to the rosewood fingerboard. No wonder the guitar boys have to pay so much for their guitars that they've no money left for a haircut.
Guitar boys.
This Romford firm was the first to use polyester spray for finishing. Colors range from sky blue pink to natural wood.
Obviously a state-of-the-art spray booth.
There are 11 different types of string in use. They can be made of steel, copper, or nowadays nylon, appropriately enough for the instrument that has become the young man's ladder to fame. Surprising when you consider the noise they make, that each and every guitar is scientifically tuned, just as if they were real musical instruments, and then burnished to a mirror gloss.
As if they were real musical instruments.
How about that, huh? I mean, is that the funniest thing you've ever heard? First off, and you got to go to the page because you'll see what we're talking about. This spray booth was literally a bench,
right,
against a wall, a concrete wall. This guy just laid the guitar up against it and just sprayed it. He wasn't even wearing a respirator.
It wasn't even hung. It was just
it was just
laying
sitting
up,
there. Yeah,
right. It was hilarious.
And it just cracks me up. They're not even musical instruments.
Just as if they were real musical instruments.
Yeah, and the backing music to that didn't even have a guitar in it.
Well, it's
Did you
because
notice
it's
that?
not a real musical instrument.
There you
Come
go.
on. Well,
I thought that was so funny and had to share that, man. Because
pretty awesome.
Today that would have been like something in, I don't know, drop A. It would have just been all this crazy stuff going on. And back then it was just like, don't understand it, but people were buying them, so
right.
Here we go.
And we used to have to import them from Holland for the gentlemen.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was over in Ireland, and Ireland can't buy their guitars. Well, this was 18 years ago. But they said they couldn't buy their guitars direct. They had to have them imported from England because of their whole tariff thing and all that. Yeah, it was really weird.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess
just another hand in the till.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yep.
You know, just another thing there.
Yep.
So yeah, just wanted to share that with everybody.
Awesome.
And that was 1965, man. They were still, you know.
And that's 50 years ago, man. 50, almost 52 years ago.
Yeah, and they were getting a lot of guitar players were, you know, they were getting shunned.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, and this is a few years after the Beatles hit, so they still weren't even considered real musical instruments back then.
Yeah.
So now look at you.
Yeah, exactly. Every dude in every garage wants to build guitars.
That's right, and I have to leave here and go drop a new set of pickups in one of my Strats before the gig tonight. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so that was it. That's
awesome.
Just a little tidbit there.
Very cool.
Share that with the fans.
Very cool. Very
Guitar
cool.
building in '65.
Love it.
Yeah.
So who are we bringing in today, Mick? Who's our guest of the week?
We are going to be bringing in a very interesting gentleman. This guy has he's played with a lot of people, and when you hear how old he was when he started playing guitar, and then how old he was when he actually started a band, you're going to be like, no way. But I mean, his playing is proof of this. I mean, the guy's he's basically a genius, and he's played with a pretty big band, Guns N' Roses. And, you know, he's got some goofy-looking guitars from the back in the day. He plays with a French company that I can never pronounce. Maybe you could help me out.
Is it the one that begins with V?
It begins with a V.
Yeah, Vigier.
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 And I always get it wrong. I'm like Vigier or Vigier. You know, I'm the guy I'm talking about, and we both know him.
Yes.
And just an awesome guy. And he's got a really cool middle name.
Well, really cool middle nickname, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think this was a given name.
I don't think so either.
No. So we're good, right? We're going to bring him on. We're going to take a quick break and we'll bring him on. And
sure.
We'll be right back from our break with the guest of the week, Ron Thal, also known as Bumblefoot.
Hey, everybody, this is Paul Gilbert, and you are listening to Amps and Axes, the most awesome podcast in the world.
All right, and we are back as promised, because we keep our promises here.
That's right.
With our guest of the week, Bumblefoot himself, Mr. Ron Thal. Ron, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Just, having a whole lot of fun. Hope you are too.
Nice. I am. Well, I am now. Now that I'm talking to you guys.
See?
My day totally sucked. It's incredible.
We're glad to make it better for you. There you go.
Well, I follow him on Instagram, right? And I saw him in there. You were in the studio cutting tracks, and it's like, I'm looking, and I go, well, wait a minute. That's not the guitar I see in his hands most of the time. So we'll have
the telly. Yeah. I was in a really cool studio in Brooklyn, Grand Street Studios, and I was working on the next Compulsions album, and they had a ton of different guitars and different amps and all kinds of gear over there. So, every song could use a different sound, a different vibe, and there's always so many sounds I can get out of that fretless, fretted, double neck behemoth monstrosity thing. So every once in a while, you got to go towards just a normal guitar. So we had a Les Paul there, we had the telly, and I had my thing, and we had this little nylon string there, all kinds of stuff.
Nice, lots of fun. Well, we're gonna find out how you got to that point, because we're gonna do what I do with all our guests.
Oh no, I just drove in from Jersey.
God damn, this is gonna be fun. So we're gonna do what I do with all our guests. We're gonna jump in the Wayback Machine, and we're gonna go all the way back to see where Mr. Ron Thal was born and raised, and how you got into this wonderful music business, and where Bumblefoot came from, I guess. And
wonderful music business.
Absolutely. So
that's a phrase you don't hear that often.
Well, I'm the eternal optimist. So
cool.
So give us a little history, man. Take us back.
A little history. All right. Well, Brooklyn. Back to Brooklyn. Right. I was born in Brooklyn in 1969, and wow, I feel like I'm suddenly so old. Oh wait, I am. All right, so yeah, I was 69. I was living in Brooklyn, and then we moved to Staten Island when I was real young, like 5 years old, and I had all these neighbors that had older brothers and sisters, and they were just always over everyone's houses. There were just a million albums lying around, and this was the mid to late 70s. So everything lying around was incredible. It's like, brand new Elton John album that just came out, and Pink Floyd and Queen and The Who and Yes and Rush and all kinds of stuff. So I'm 5 years old. I'm hanging out with my friend Bob. We're in his room and just putting on different albums. And then we put on one. It's got these 4 dudes with painted faces. And pop it on there, and I hear the crowd. I hear Paul Stanley. How do you feel? And all that stuff. And all right. So and I'm just mesmerized. I couldn't believe what this experience was. Just the sound coming out of the speakers, the energy of the crowd cheering, and the band and everything. And so I heard the Kiss Alive album at 5 years old, and immediately I knew. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So within a year, by a year later, I had a band. We were writing songs. We were making demos. I was using just 2 little cassette recorders, and we would play with our nylon string guitars up close to it with the drums like 10 feet away to get proper levels. And then we would play back the music we just recorded facing another tape recorder, and we would put our faces next to it, and we would sing. And that's how we would overdub vocals onto the next one. So we were doing this multiple cassette, multi-track recording system that we just came up with, and we're just doing everything a band does. We had our logo cut out and hanging on the wall behind us in the basement, and little cups of confetti we would spend all day cutting up, and doing everything that a band does. At
you were what?
7 years old.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean.
I know.
First off, okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
So we make our own merch too, just like hand-drawn comic books, stapling pages together and sell them at school.
Ron, we got to stop you for a second. Wow. Okay, so at 6 years old, right? Or 7? 6, right?
6, 7, 8, doesn't matter.
6, 7, going on 7.
Okay. So at 7 years old, it's one thing to learn how to play guitar from 5 to 7. Let's just say that time zone. But to figure out how to actually record yourselves and then do an overdub from tape to tape, what was it like? Did everybody go to MIT later on in life? Or?
If there was an MIT kindergarten,
no, I actually dropped out of school.
Here's my kindergarten band, guys.
I took a very strange, curvy road. I would sit in my backyard reading encyclopedias for fun, and then I went to school. I was just riddled with anxiety and just couldn't handle the scenario there. And so I dropped out. Years later, I ended up becoming a college professor.
Wow.
This is mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
Wacky road.
This is okay. So, all right. So at the whopping age of 7, you have a band.
You have a kindergarten band.
and
first grade band.
And you're writing material.
Oh, yeah, we're writing, we're recording. And you know what's scary is that the songs I wrote then were better than the ones I write now. The ones back then, they had this like cool, sleazy kind of Kiss vibe to them. Now I just write cartoon music. I wrote some cool stuff when I was 7. I don't know what happened in 40 years. I guess the name Bumblefoot, you turn into a cartoon character. Start making cartoon music.
Well, I think the cassettes need to be remastered.
Yes.
And released.
Well, this is.
I still have the recordings.
Oh my God, that's crazy!
Yeah,
this is awesome. So the thing is that we have had. So we talk about this all the time. Most of our guests, when they come on, they either say, for the most part, it's been Elvis Presley. the Beatles, and then of course this next generation of Kiss, right? And you fall into the Kiss category, but you are the first one at 5 years old to start playing guitar. We've had some 6, I think. A couple of the guests have started at like 6 or 7.
Yeah, but they were strumming one string,
and they were not doing demos of original music 2 years into it. So that you're that's a different thing. Now, how old are the kids that you're playing with at that time?
Oh, well, my brother was 8, and then our neighbor was 9. So I was the kid of the group.
That is just wild.
So when did this musical prodigy go electric?
Yeah.
When did I get my first electric? I think it was around 8 years old. It was like a fake Les Paul that cost like $80. Nice guitar, though. It was by a company. I've never seen any other guitars by this company called Pace, P-A-C-E, which the only company I've seen called Pace was one that made like salsa, hot sauce. So I don't know if they were just, one of those companies like, hey, let's try guitars. I had this ain't working out. Let's try hot sauce.
Yeah, I've seen the Les Paul copies back in the day when I was growing up. They were, of course, the Univox ones, but there was also another company called Kimberly that used to put them out. And I have this bizarre green burst 4 gold foil pickup thing by Kimberly as well.
Nice.
And I had that prior to my Les Paul copy. I think it was a Univox Les Paul copy. And I was playing the 4 pickup Kimberly for quite a while, and then I got the Les Paul, and I thought I was hot stuff, man. And I didn't even try it out through my amp. I just took it on the gig, and even with both pickups on, it couldn't hold a candle to that piece of crap 4 pickup green burst with the 4 gold foil pickups in it. So it was, but those were the 2 that I knew. I never saw a Pace.
And, I just did a quick internet search on it. It doesn't exist. David Pace is a classical instrument maker, and he doesn't make electrics. So you must have had something that was probably a very short-lived company.
Either that or I got hit on the head and dreamt it up or something. I don't know.
Do you still have it? Obviously not.
But yeah, it was a company called Pace. At least that's what it said on the top.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's many companies, that have come and gone. That,
for sure.
If you ever did a search on them, they just don't exist. They
or there was a lawsuit.
Or there was a lawsuit, yeah.
Yeah, we got another story happening on that.
But there's a lot of things that, searching certainly got better in the last 10 years. But I remember 10 years ago, trying to find it and doing a search and couldn't find it. But then I also did a search of something that was really tough to find, but I vividly remember these, and I hope you guys do too. Do you remember cookies called Happy Nicks?
Happy Nicks. Is that a New York thing, maybe?
It was, I don't know, but they were smiley face cookies. They were just plain round cookies. Some of them were vanilla, some of them were chocolate. They lived in harmony in the box. It was all good. And they had just like embossed into them, just, 2 dots and a smile, a smiley face. And they were called Happy Nicks, Happyniks.
And I've got them up here on the screen.
I couldn't find anything.
This is awesome.
Proving that these existed until one day, years and years later, finally, let me do a search right now. We're going to find Happy Nicks.
It's called intheseventies.com, and it's food of the 70s. And Happy
there
Nicks.
It is. Happy Nicks cookies.
Happy Nicks cookies.
Sorry, I just got really excited to
That's okay.
interrupt you or anything. It's just
a cookie from the childhood is exciting. It is. That's great, man.
All right, here's Fudge Town.
I was born and raised in North Jersey, so I was very close to you, and I don't remember Happy Nicks.
Well,
damn.
It's
I'm going to find these.
That's right up there with
you a picture.
That's right up
right
there.
Now I'm doing a search, and for some reason, they're not showing up, and I'm getting really scared.
No, I just found them. I found them. There's a picture of them.
You did?
They have these.
Okay. That's right up there with the Carvel Cookie Puss.
Yeah.
Cake.
This is the craziest thing.
Wow. Happy Nicks.
Wow.
I'm saying Mr. Chips, Chocolate Snaps, Fudge Town cutouts, whatever the hell that is.
Fudge Town,
going there. Wheat Nicks, never heard of that.
Must be that
I'm having a
healthy
hard time.
version.
See, I'm telling you, man, it's hard to find Happy Nicks on Google. And they did exist.
Wow.
They
They didn't believe me in the nut house either, but it's true. They exist.
Now, two
they
things
were
we're
called
going to have
Happy
to
Nicks
find.
cookies, and they were kind of that typical smiley face like the one like Nirvana's logo, but before he got stoned. Yeah, like that typical just smile, yellow-faced smile thing.
Wow.
And Happiness, and I still can't find pictures of him, but I'm gonna.
It has a description about him, but it doesn't. It doesn't show the image.
Out.
It's kind of weird.
I think there's.
Why would it not show the image?
I think there's a new company to be started here.
Yeah, because Chocolate Snaps was a different company that had that, but with the smile on the front. But
okay, that's crazy.
Okay, so anyway.
Wow.
I guess we can get back to the musical side.
So with these cookies and guitar that didn't exist, what amp did you play that didn't exist?
Well, I vividly remember at the age of 6 building this orthoscopic scope that ran on a robot arm powered by magnets and a diesel engine. But I'm not sure if that existed either.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
all right then. So it's lost 10 listeners.
That's right. We gained 50 more. Trust me.
There you go.
So that was the first guitar. What was your first amp? Do you remember?
Oh, let me see. There was a company acoustic.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was that half stack that my neighbor had. But the first amp. Oh wait. There was a Mesa Boogie Mark IV head. Didn't have much juice to it. It's kind of clean. But the first real amp I got that I was like, all right, I got to go out and get a real amp. It was a Marshall 2x12 combo. And this was in the early 80s because my goal was to get that Randy Rhoads sound. And I remember getting a MXR Distortion Plus and that.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was good.
That would have been probably a JCM 800. 212 combo,
yeah.
And I forget the number. It's what was that number?
It was like started with a 4, I think, like 4204 or 4124, something like that.
40. They had like the 4104 and the 40. You know what? I'm going to search it.
But you know what?
It might have been a 4104 then.
In order to get the real ice pick Randy Rhoads, you got to put Altex in there.
Yeah.
Oh man! But then you can't lift it. So. Because his cabinets were loaded with Altec 421s, I think.
Yeah, and the roadies hated them.
Oh yeah,
because they came in at whopping like 300 pounds or something crazy.
Oh god,
something crazy.
Yeah, they were very heavy.
So we're, at that time when you got a real rig, were you doing covers, or were you ever into covers, or were you just always into writing new stuff?
Yeah, always loved covers. All the songs that make you love playing.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I would do covers, originals, everything.
So you learned the entire Kiss catalog, I'm sure.
I did, and what I would do is every day I would say I'm going to learn an album. And just by ear, just dropping the needle a little at a time, and I would just take an AC/DC album or a Judas Priest album or an Iron Maiden album, whatever it was, and I would say, I'm going to learn this album. Scorpions, all kinds of stuff. Wow. Tchaikovsky, that was a tough one. But just try and do it, and by the end of the album, I forgot everything at the beginning, but still just to get in the practice of learning fast and retaining and learning by ear.
Well, that's a good way to get to 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah, real fast. An album a day?
Yeah.
You'll get there real fast.
Oh my God. So it was just, I guess, so no school. When did you leave school? When did you quit?
I was like 16.
So then it was just
guitar,
woodshedding all day and all night, right? I mean,
and I was teaching. I was giving guitar lessons because at that point I had already had about good 7 years more of, by that point, 9 years of academic study, jazz, classical, buttloads of theory and everything. So I was teaching, I was working.
Were you playing out much in the clubs, in the circuit?
Back then, maybe once a month.
Okay.
So it was a lot of just teaching and practicing and just getting the chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of writing, recording. I was producing, just other bands. Anything you do for yourself, you got to do for others. So I had a little studio in the basement, and I would record my own stuff. So friends' bands would come over, I would record them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So your parents weren't upset that you had left school because they obviously could see this music career thing that was going to go for you, right? I mean,
oh God, no. It was the usual. You need to get a backup plan. You need a, it's like, you don't believe in me, Mom! That kind of stuff. And that pretty much went on until Madison Square Garden.
Jesus.
It's like, and then suddenly it's like, Ronald, we're so proud of you. Like, screw you.
How you like me now?
Yeah. It's funny because 2 weeks ago, you weren't there. And now you are.
Wow.
That's pretty wild, man.
What was the first band that you had got into that you thought was really the stuff, really, starting to do things and go places?
Well, I always had my own band and always focused on that and just kept that going. I would do other stuff on the side. I would play with a lot of different people, and it was a lot of fun, but it was always just doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. I guess it was really when I joined GNR, because that's when I finally, was like, what? This is something different. let's try this.
Wow, that's. Yeah. I'm surprised. That's a mighty big step.
Yeah.
But then again, you know what? It was a slow incline. It wasn't like a huge jump, because even then I was doing a ton of touring by that point, and I had so much going on. I was making music for video games and movies and TV shows and producing tons of bands and touring all over the place with my own stuff, and everything was going great. And
what was the name of the band that you were
being plucked out of complete obscurity or anything?
Yeah. What was the name of the band that you were touring with? Your own stuff? Was it?
Oh, it was Bumblefoot.
It was just Bumblefoot. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if and correct me if I'm wrong, but Buckethead was in GNR before you got in there to take his place, correct?
Yeah.
And when I heard that Buckethead was in GNR, I went, well, that's different, because Buckethead has this crazy eclectic style.
Yeah, very
all
much
of his
so.
instrumental stuff is just, it is out there. And then I heard Ron was in the band, and I'm going, it's like this crazy instrumental, this guy that can just play anything, playing Slash's parts. And I'm going, oh my God. I mean, that's like,
with a serious musical background.
Well, it's like bringing a howitzer to go squirrel hunting in my book. You know what I mean? Yeah. Did he have you, did you get free reign when you went to do your solos and stuff, or did you stay traditional to the song?
Pretty much the last thing you want to do is rewrite a song and disrespect the audience that are coming there to hear a melody that they love and want to hear.
Sure.
That would be pretty rude to go and start rewriting songs, that have been around for how many years.
Yeah.
But if there was a long section of, just open jamming, like let's say the end of Paradise City, where it's just
you could just
G G G C C F F C C G, and that going on, over and over. Then do your own thing.
Gotcha.
But I'm not gonna rewrite the intro of the song or anything like that.
Right.
Now I did see.
So it's just being respectful. The song is more important than the person.
That's cool.
Agreed.
Now, I did see that there was a rig rundown at one point, and you were actually playing Les Pauls, but you had them worked over, right? Like, it was one volume, and you moved the toggle switch down to where the other controls were. Am I right with this?
No,
everything
I had
see
a 59 reissue Les Paul, but I never did anything to it.
Okay.
I did have some single cutaways, and those are from the same company that makes the fretted fretless, the company Vigier, Vigier.
French company, yes.
You got it, yeah. So they make a really nice single cutaway guitar.
Well, maybe, was it the other guy in there?
Might have been the other guy.
Were you running?
Which other guy? There was a couple other guys.
Yeah, there were, so that it all kind of goes together. My brain, I don't remember any cookies or anything like that.
You see somebody, it's hard to separate after a while.
Yeah, I see so many of these. But were you running fractals in that gig?
No, I was using an Engel.
Oh, okay.
An Engel head, 100-watt Invader head, going into 4x12 Marshall Celestions, and that was loaded into an ISO cab, a company called Hermit that makes these nice ISO cabs that have the little door in the back that opens up so you can let some sound escape and kind of shape the mids a bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And of course, I got it wrong. See, that was...
Oh, no, it's okay.
But, that company, that guitar company, and it's Vigier, right?
Yeah, Vigier.
Yes.
Vigier. That is like a non-truss rod kind of deal, right? That's like a piece of carbon fiber. Am I correct with this?
They got that strip of carbon going through the center of the neck.
Yep.
And the wood sticks to that.
Yeah, and
that's it.
And the one thing that doesn't stick is the cash in your wallet, because they are not cheap guitars.
Oh, yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah, they're very,
between
very
the price of a euro, the exchange being a little higher, and the VAT tax and all of that, plus the guitar itself, very handmade and meticulously made and expensive. So, put it all together, and they can be pricey.
Now, when did you start playing them? Do you remember?
1997.
Oh, wow. It's almost 20 years now.
You're a true endorser.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I'm a lifer. Yeah, I've been with DiMarzio for a good 25 years, them almost 20 years. I was on tour in France, and a rep came to a show, and he's like, try this guitar. And I think I had my Swiss cheese guitar with me, my homemade, monstrosity.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not looking for an endorsement. I make my own guitars. I'm happy with that. And he's like, don't be stubborn, just try it. It's like, all right. So I tried it, and it's like, damn, this thing plays good. It was undeniable. It just felt so good on the hands.
Wow. And
it sounded good, felt good. And so I met with Patrice Vigier, the owner of the company, went out to dinner and talked about guitars and life, and he was willing to accommodate my weird fetish of having to make strange guitars. So he made that foot guitar with the wings that pop out of the sides, and
you were turned on to the Vigiers in France, obviously touring as Bumblefoot with your band, right? At that point?
That one I was doing just like a solo clinic tour.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering what your touring rig was in the Bumblefoot days, and was that to the point where guys they stopped shipping their rigs because it was too expensive, and you just did backline when you were touring Europe?
Yeah, you use whatever you can get out there.
Yeah, is that the way it was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
there's a picture of the foot guitar.
Very expensive to bring your own back line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The foot guitar is just awesome.
So what was your yeah, that is funny. What was your go-to? I gotta have this backline rig at that point. Was it Marshall, or were you at Engel at that point?
I wasn't with Engel until 2009.
Okay.
What was I using back then? I think I just used whatever I could get my hands on. I was like, just make sure you got an amp with a lot of dirt on it.
So no secret pedal board that traveled with you, like a lot of guys do nowadays.
No, I was quite the simpleton.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of confidence. That shows a lot of confidence. Just give me something that's got some dirt and I'll play.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that some guys won't leave home without anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw.
Just give me a clean twin and I'm good. Because all my mojo's here.
Who was Whitesnake's guy? John Sykes. And he was at a music store doing a little a seminar type thing, right? And they had the half stack Soldano, and they had tons of pedals, and everybody was like, "Are you going to plug in?" He goes, "Nah, I only play through my rig." And then I got to see that rig, and I was like, "Well, there's about 8.5 miles worth of signal path before you get to the two Mesa Boogies."
Wow!
And then it goes out to some other thing, and there was power amps, and it was just crazy. And I was like, wow, I wonder how much he hides behind, to get his, to do what he's doing. And I thought he was I like his playing. And I was like, why don't you
love it. Yeah.
Why don't you just grab the guitar and just go? But some guys are really picky.
It might be easier. Yeah, I think Luke's probably like that too. But
Oh yeah, Luke.
Yeah,
he has a pretty big rig.
But Ron doesn't need that. He just give me a good amp and
then the question is how did you? I mean, you're the second person I've ever seen play a fretless guitar the way that you play it, and the other person would be Guthrie, but that was just him testing it out. It wasn't even like he picks that thing up and uses it on a regular basis. Yours is always on your guitar.
Oh yeah, I use it. Yeah.
So what did
it take a while to get used
to?
I
mean, yeah, that.
Oh yeah.
It has to be way different.
The first 5 minutes, it's just a big question mark, and after about an hour, everything starts solidifying and start triangulating the eyes and the ears and the hands, and it all comes together.
Wow.
Yeah, I think if I picked one up, I'd want to play it with a bow or something, It's like a big old violin.
It's just like playing a slide. It's just, picture if the slide is just on your fingertips, on every fingertip. That's really all you're doing is you're just going over where the fret would be, and you just slide around.
Wow.
And what's the gauge string on those? Because I've heard it's heavier than a normal guitar, right?
Yeah, I'm using 12 to 56.
That's pretty good because you don't bend. You just slide up and down.
Yeah,
right?
so you don't even feel it. It's like butter. You don't even, it could be 9s or it could be 14s and you don't even know. It's just.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's no neck contact, right? Because there's nothing to press down
it's like
upon.
a big sheet of metal. So you're pressing against that.
Oh,
so instead of calling it a fretless, it should really be called like a fretful, because it's almost like one big metal fret that you're playing on. Well, maybe not, but I guess you could just say it's a metal-necked fretless. But yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I've heard some of the recordings, and it is wicked. I mean, and you're playing it like hyperspeed on some of that stuff, and I'm like, it just doesn't even. It just because it flows. It's just these notes just kind of flow out of it, unlike. Fretted instruments have such a different sound. This has just this it's almost like a harmonic.
It almost has to be liquid because there's so many semitones that you cannot access on a fretted guitar.
It's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool, and you play it with ease.
Nice.
Well, thanks. Yeah, you could get very expressive on it for sure.
Yeah.
All that dissonance in between everything, you could really play with that a lot. And you can do things like just as you chirp a little artificial harmonic on a note, and as you're sliding down, that drags with it. So you can get a lot of tasty little stuff on top of the notes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm just imagining. Yeah, this is so awesome.
You'd have to really, get into that thing to understand where all those little nuances are.
Oh, yeah.
Because like on your fretted guitar, I can make this squeal anytime I want.
Right.
I can get a harmonic out of that. But when that thing,
you can't ride it down the fretboard. That is so cool,
all.
man. Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool deal, man.
Totally.
Nice.
So let's talk a little bit about Art of Anarchy.
Let's.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. When did that come together? How did that all fall into place?
That started in 2011. These two guys, John and Vince, that I've been friends with. Well, I used to produce them back in the 90s, their band, and we just always stayed friends. And they were looking to jump back into music full force, and they had 10 songs that they wrote music for and brought them into the studio and tracked everything. And then I started laying some guitar on top of that. And then it was, all right, let's find some singers. And Scott Weiland did a song. And then his people said, hey, let's do the whole album. And we did the whole album. And then John Moyer joined on bass. And there you have it. What was the slow formation that was evolving into a band? Weiland distanced himself. The album came out. Then we started looking for another singer. Sadly, Scott Weiland passed. But we had met up before that with Scott Stapp, and we hung out and jammed a little bit and grabbed dinner and just chatted about stuff. And a month later, he came up to New York for a good 2 weeks, and 5 of us just sat in a room writing and recording and coming up with ideas. And we've been working on the album since. So we put out the first single last month with a video. And if all stays on plan, we should have the full album out in March of 2017.
Nice.
Very.
Yeah, we watched that video.
Yeah. Did see
And
the video.
Scott's done a couple things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's had a little band back in the day.
Yeah.
They kind of did some things with that band. Pretty
big
good.
Time.
You could see him at a local stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Creed was, I guess, the American version of what would be what's the most hated band on the planet? What's the guys from Canada?
You're going to say Nickelback?
Nickelback, yeah. But they were good.
I think it's time for people to stop hating Nickelback. I mean, that stuff's gotten old already. And honestly, they're a good band. They write good songs. Their fans love them. And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
they do it for their fans, not for other people.
Yeah, I was just busting balls.
That really should be all that matters. It really should be all that matters.
Yeah. So Creed, they also committed the horrible sin of writing songs that people liked. So
how dare they?
Yeah, they'll get. I know. How dare they?
It's a weird
it's a
world,
horrible
isn't it?
thing to do, making people happy.
Yeah.
In masses, in droves.
It's a strange thing. It's almost like, dude, you're selling out, and it's like, yeah, we're selling out.
We're selling records,
stadiums,
right? Exactly.
Here's the shocker: 80,000 people like it, and they're going to show up tomorrow, and then they're going to show up on Wednesday.
Right.
At a different city.
And if you had the opportunity, you'd do the same damn thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I know. I was just busting balls because
you suck till you get big, and then you suck. So what the hell's with that?
Yeah, it's almost like everybody likes to have their own little thing, and they don't want it to get big. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, these guys actually have to eat at night.
Yeah.
They
Well, the thing is, though, it's not up to them. It is not up to Nickelback or Creed or anyone else how the world is going to receive them and what the world is going to do with them. All you can really do as a musician is just put out something you believe in, and the rest of the world is going to decide from there.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's true.
It is true.
And that's the best reason for musicians to not try and write what's popular on the radio or try and, sell out or follow trends. Do what is authentic and legitimate, and art should be art. And there's no point in doing it if not for that, because it's out of your hands. Once you write it and record it and put it out there, it is out of your hands. Either 10 people are going to like it or 10 million people are going to like it, and it's not up to you.
That is so...
It's so true. I mean,
man, you know what?
You can't get into it for that reason. It's like, I'm going to write this, and 80,000 people are going to show up and listen to it.
And do you know how many guys I've met that would, I'm like, that dude sounds just like George Lynch, or that dude sounds like he's playing Dream Theater, or you know what I mean? And as soon as I hear that, I go, yeah, I don't see anything going on here. Incredible player, but literally no originality.
Yeah.
Right. and you can, and I think thing is everybody sees that, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have nothing behind it and there's none of your soul into it, well then, yeah, you're right. It's just like, well, that's going to go away quick.
Yeah.
So, I got to backtrack for a minute. I'm curious, when did you start getting into writing, for soundtrack type material? How did that come about?
I think the first time it happened was after I put out my first album on Shrapnel, the instrumental album, The Adventures of Bumblefoot, '95, and the video game company Sega reached out and said they had a video game that they thought I would fit well with musically, and had me do the whole soundtrack. So I had to write 28 songs, and I had 1 month to do it. So
Jesus,
this is 1996, working on that. And what I would do is every day I would wake up in the morning, I would write a song, and I would have it recorded by the afternoon. I would put it on a cassette, and I would FedEx it next day to San Francisco to Sega, and just did that constantly.
Wow.
So I had to write a song for each of there were like 5 worlds and 3 levels to each one. And then there was if you die on that level song, there was the intro song, there was the outro song, if you win, if you lose the game, and all that stuff. So it was 28 pieces of music I had to make. And you just have half a day to get it done.
And in 96, you were what, 17?
No, I was like 26.
Oh, 26. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm doing my wrong math.
Wrong math. Forgot to move the 1.
Yeah, well,
Carry the 1.
I had to carry, yes. And yes. So that's an insane work ethic, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, that is just, that's why.
Obviously,
that's why you are.
I assume you had they gave you the game to watch as you developed these songs. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what format, like how they ended up giving it to me. It might have been like a VHS tape or something like that had just visuals and things moving. And this was actually one of the first games that had actual real sound. Like before that, it was all just little beeping noises. And this is the first game that was going to have actual music.
Wow.
That is so cool. Now, did you send them cassettes just for approval, and you had, you had these recordings on some other device other than the cassette? I mean, I'm sure they didn't. I'd be surprised if they took the cassette and made the soundtrack from the cassette that you send up.
Once it was all done, I flew out there and then we tracked live drums to the stuff and. Trying to remember, what did I use? It might have been, I think I had ADAT, so I brought the ADAT tapes with me.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the doubles, man. Because, you can guarantee they would be eaten at some point.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you, Ron, because I've heard your interview with Eddie Trunk. There was a point where you got ill and you had to like redo your diet or right?
Oh yeah, life happens. Sure. It was from a car accident, and I had a little spine injury thing, and needed to. Doctors were trying to resolve the pain issue, and traditional medicine just was not quite working. It was making things worse. So finally, last resort, I went to what they call a wellness doctor, and he went through my blood and said, all right, well, first of all, you need to go on a big cleanse to get all that crap out of your system, all the tons of steroids they loaded you up with and this and that and everything else you've been doing to try and medicate to get through it, because I was touring at the time. I shouldn't have been. I absolutely should not have been touring. I should have taken care of myself. But a lot of pressure was on, and I was taking on the weight of the world and accepting that pressure. So I went and toured when I was not physically able or even mentally able, because I had a concussion and
God.
Yeah. So I did a good 6 months of touring, just with daily doses of whatever will get you through the day, and so the answer to it all was diet, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Not to be all conspiracy-ish or that kind of thing, but in reality, everything that like food, things like that, once it becomes an industry and it becomes for profit, there's going to be an agenda, and it's no longer going to be about what is best for you and what is healthy for you.
Oh, absolutely.
So So when you go back to the simplest methods and the simplest things, and just letting food be your medicine, that's what works. So I cut out a lot of sugar and processed stuff, and within 3 weeks, the pain was down. It was doing more than the medicine could do.
Well, I've read, and I know we're a guitar show, but hey, he had this car accident and it affected him.
Right.
But Don, even as a guitar player, this is important because
inflammation.
People look at athletes and say, "Oh, wow, they're really working hard, and they get hurt and they get injured and this and that." But you don't realize that when you're a musician, you're working out really hard, and a show is brutal. It's just on a very small level. It's not the full limb. It's the little stuff. It's the fingers and the wrist and all the muscles in the forearm and your shoulder and you are definitely working stuff. And it's very easy to injure, and it's important for musicians to keep their inflammation down, because that is the bad thing. The inflammation is what's going to get you, and that's what's going to spiral into worse stuff. So you have to be on an anti-inflammatory diet as much as you can.
And that means sugar has to be out of your diet for the most part.
Pull back on sugar, pull back on alcohol, pull back on bad, crappy food. And it's going to make a difference. I mean, even the drummer of Art of Anarchy, he was having all this pain in his hands, and he started eating less bread, and the pain started going away.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. Inflammation is the biggest thing that will hinder. You think, oh man, my knees are going, or my wrists are going, or something. Like, oh, it's arthritis. Man, you go and you get checked out, and the guy will be like, you don't have any arthritis. You just have inflammation. And it's like, well, where's that coming from? How about your diet?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're eating like crap, and that's what it does,
Right.
So that's very cool, man, that you figured that out, turned that around. And it's just you don't think of it,
it's the only reason that I could even put on a guitar. I could even hold a guitar. Was on that tour, like, they had to put a guitar on and off of me. Like, I couldn't even raise my arms and do that. And
man,
wow, yeah, that. It's, Mother Nature's a wonderful thing if you let her be,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's keeps.
It can give you life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what's your typical daily consumption look like?
Daily consumption, food-wise?
Yeah, food-wise.
All right. What do I have? I wake up in the morning, and I take these supplements. They're these liquid. Well, it's a powder that you mix with liquid, an exact amount of powder to an exact amount of water, and it absorbs a lot quicker. So I start off with those from a company called Isotonics.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Isotonics. And no, they're not like Happy Nick's cookies. These actually exist.
Full circle.
So there's one called OPC3.
All right.
So rather than me trying to describe it and being all, it kind of like, let me see if I could find like a good thing on it that'll explain better than I can exactly the benefits of it. Okay. Isotonics OPC3 is an isotonic-capable food supplement that is made from a combination of bilberry, grapeseed, red wine, and pine bark extracts and citrus extract bioflavonoids, all found to be powerful antioxidants. Oligomeric proans, that's too big a word. OPCs are bioflavonoids, blah, 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 found in fruits, vegetables, and anyway, it's good for you.
It's a concentrated form of the stuff that you should eat. So instead of eating
it's a super drink,
instead of eating 40 pounds of stuff, you get to take this liquid, and it just literally absorbs into your body, and then you can live better.
Yeah,
that's breakfast.
And there's some ways to do that, some ways not to do it. Like, you shouldn't have juice as a way of doing that because it's concentrating the sugar, and fruit is made the way it is for a reason. You're supposed to be getting all of that sugar and all that juice, but having it leaching into your system slowly with the right amount of fiber that comes with the fruit.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're blasting your body with a hit of sugar. Your insulin is going to jump, and yeah.
Wow, man.
So the Isotonics OPC3, another one called ORAC, ORAC. High ORAC foods such as blueberries, cranberries, and elderberries. And ORAC refers to oxygen radical absorption capacity.
I like it.
And basically it's just more stuff that's good for you. So I take that stuff, I wait a little bit, and then I have 2 cage-free, free-range, nice orange-yolked, soft-boiled eggs with a couple of more little vitamins and things that just seem to help. I'll have some plain Greek yogurt and throw a couple of blueberries in it.
Nice.
Maybe have some cottage cheese, just a lot of protein. Just load up on the protein in the morning.
I'm getting hungry.
While I'm at the studio, let's say a day like today, I bring a full bottle of lemon water.
Nice.
So water with fresh squeezed lemons, and drink that. And I bring an organic apple as a snack, and that's pretty much it. And then go home and pig out, and then I go to White Castle, get like 18
there you go.
Cheeseburgers,
buy a couple sacks. There you go.
We'll get an email. I just saw Ron down at the White Castle loading up on these.
Well, he deserves it. Look what he does all day.
Exactly.
You're very regimented, man. I got to congratulate you on that. That's
very cool.
Awesome. But it obviously keeps you going, and you don't. You don't feel overly hungry. You don't feel like you want to go grab a donut or a bagel or
no. Like to me, when I look at a donut, you know what I see? Neck pain. I see a circle of neck pain.
Wow,
that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, like I don't see the quick rush of this is tasty, and honestly, I don't consider that tasty. When you stop eating so much sugar, it kind of opens up your palate to everything else, and you can. It almost makes you more sensitive to all the other flavors, which start getting dulled when it all becomes about sugar. When you just keep looking for sweet in the same kind of way.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Look at that.
I've heard tell that once you start eating that healthy, you really don't miss all the crap that you've been eating.
No, I don't miss that stuff at all.
That's
not
nice.
at all.
Excellent.
That is very cool.
Excellent.
And the other thing is that when you're not doing all that stuff to your blood sugar, you can go without. You can eat a lot, or you can starve for a long time, and you're fine. Like you don't get all winded and exhausted if you don't eat every certain amount of hours, and you don't spike and crash and all of that. There's been times. I remember one tour I did this last May. Between all the travel and running around, I'd gone. Was it? I think 39 hours or 29 hours without eating, and I was fine. And then I ate, and I was fine. And
wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
And you realize this is how the cavemen did it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well, when
they were able to do it because they just ate natural stuff, and they didn't eat Happy Nicks. They didn't eat imaginary sugar cookies with smiley faces.
Well, you know what? We're going to have to try that because last time me and Jeff were at NAMM, we looked at each other around 6 o'clock and we were like, I'm going to pass out any second. And
blood sugar is like in my socks.
I was literally like shaking like I was like, and we went out to the food truck and we ate bad. But
we did.
You ate bad, but it was good.
See, that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good on you for getting past that, man.
Man.
That's awesome. But and you're feeling great, and that's so much more important, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, when you can't even put your own guitar on you,
that's a sign that there's something wrong.
Jesus.
Wow.
But it was indescribable what that was. It was absolute. It was complete living hell. Beyond. I had to just pretty much keep people around me all the time because as soon as I was alone, I'd try and kill myself.
Oh, my God.
Because, what kind of life is it? Just imagine if every moment of your life, like 24/7, nonstop, you're in unbearable pain that you just want to bang your head against a wall just to divert it to somewhere else.
Yeah, man. I guess that
you can't live. It's not living. And how long are you supposed to be like that before you say, enough torture?
Wow.
Yeah. And I know we've gone way off topic here, but look, this is
actually important to players too.
But this is life. You know what? Music is not just about music. It's about life. Life happens while you're on tour, and it's happening back home while you're away, and it's there's a lot to it. And all these experiences are the stories you're going to tell when you make music, and everything you feel and experience is going to, express itself when you play. And so this stuff is part of music.
And that's
life is music.
That's why we love this show, because we get these stories.
Right.
And
nobody else.
The prescription drug thing is just going crazy. I didn't even know this. They had last year, 80,000 people OD'd on Oxycontin in this country.
Oh, yeah.
That was more than the heroin overdoses that take place on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so, when that doctor's prescribing stuff, you may want to just kind of check up, because it could be, like Ron said, a diet issue and not so much the other issue.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that's a good life lesson there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know where to go from there. I really don't. But what are you were in the studio cutting some tracks. What are you working on now? What are you looking for in the future? Can we catch you out on tour with anything anytime soon? Give us a little forward thought.
What is next? On December 13th, I'm going to do a little bit of jamming at the Revolver Music Awards in New York at Webster Hall.
Sweet.
I think I'm going to jam with Ace Frehley.
Oh, look
again, which is cool. Yeah. And who else? A couple of surprises. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say or not or whatever, but I don't know.
Well,
So doing that, and then let me see. I'm going to do Shiprocked, the music cruise, and I'm going to do. I think it's looking like I might do a nice acoustic show with Jeff Tate. So he'll sing. I'll sing back up and play guitar, and I'll be playing in the group band on the ship with everybody. And let's see, get back from that. And let's see, I got to run out to Thailand. It's the 20th anniversary of their Sturgis out there, the big bike week. So I've been playing that every year. So I'm going to hit that and see what else. A lot of touring plans that are in the pipeline from next March to December. We'll see what happens and what doesn't. And
man,
cool.
That is,
I like that. I'm just going to run over to Thailand and play.
Man, it's such a good time. It's this about 40,000 people as bikers from all over the world come out, and this festival is run by the local bikers, a lot of expats, and it's actually part of a charity. Like all the proceeds, everything that comes in goes towards this children's charity that they have called Jester's Care for Kids. And it takes care of housing, education, food, clothes, safety, anything that kids need. And I've visited the kids, in different spots, and it's wonderful what they're doing. I was actually the first international artist they had at the festival, and it brought in $163,000 US dollars, which goes a long way out there.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
That's awesome. Man. Good on you, man. Good on you.
Now, one other thing that our audience may or may not know. If you follow Ron, you may know this. Amazing singer. Dude,
thank you.
You have got serious pipes, man. I mean,
thank you very much.
You were playing, what was that? Was it like some kind of Hello Kitty thing, or what were you doing?
Oh yeah. I was doing 2 hours of interviews with Loudwire, and it ended after an hour and a half. There's Hello Kitty guitar. I was like, hey, you want to jam on this for a couple of minutes? We'll film you. It's just a thing that they started doing, where Zach did it, and Mike Portnoy on a Hello Kitty drum set. So I was like, all right, and I started playing and just started singing too, and we just spent about a half hour, and they chopped it down to like a good 4 minutes. But we're doing everything from Stevie Wonder to Dio, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, man,
it was fun.
And you can belt it out. I was like, oh my God. And there's nothing more depressing than you see him play and you go, well, this guy's just amazing with all the two-handed stuff and the blazing up. And then he sings, and
how
I go,
can it get any better?
I'm like,
that's how.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. So I just went home. I put legs on it. And now it's a coffee
on
table.
The guitar,
yeah, it's a SG coffee table. It's kind of hard to serve drinks on it because they slide down the neck because of the pitch.
There you go.
But the body, you can put them there. So
too funny,
too much.
Too funny.
Yeah, man.
Well, Ron, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure. Anything else you want people to know? Any product out there you need to people to see and purchase?
No, actually, here's something interesting that I'll be announcing in about a week formally. But the albums that were on Shrapnel Records that I put out in 95 and 97, The Adventures of Bumblefoot, an album called Hermit, The Orchard, the digital label The Orchard, bought the entire Shrapnel catalog.
Wow.
So we're going to re-release those two albums, adding some little extras onto them, and we're going to try and make a nice big thing out of it with an event and maybe some vinyl. And so shooting for early February for that. And I remixed the entire Hermit album. And it sounds like a brand new album. It's like a whole other experience listening to it now. You can hear there's so much going on in the production, so many little things that are now nice and clear, and you can really hear what's going on fully, because there were issues with the mastering, and also just 20 years ago, the mixing capabilities weren't, there's only so much that was possible.
Yeah, the technology that we have nowadays.
And including me as the engineer, there was only so much I was able to do.
Wow.
We've done 100, we're coming close to 160 shows.
Yeah.
We've been doing this since January 1st of 2014, right? So we're coming up on 3 years. Without a doubt, you have done more than any other musician that we've ever talked to.
So.
The engineering side, just the constant playing and writing crazy amounts of songs in short periods of time. We haven't talked to anybody else that's done what you've done, man.
We've had people that played and done soundtracks. We've had people that have toured and written. And all
but if you got them around a mixing board, they would run out of the room screaming or
explode or something.
But dude, you've wow,
nice.
No MIT, right? You never went there. You never.
I can't even spell MIT.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, if
we'll have his links up on the page, and they'll live out there
in perpetuity.
That's right. And when it goes into the archive, you'll still be able to go out to his stuff, and definitely check out all the things that you've done, man.
We'll keep an eye out, and if some itinerary happens to hit the calendar and brings you to the Northeast anywhere,
that Art of Anarchy.
Yeah,
we got to see that, man. That looks really good.
We'd love to see
either that or hopefully another run with Metal Allegiance or anything else that might be happening in 2017, or even, God forbid, I go out and do a Bumblefoot tour.
That would be really cool.
Any and all would be fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Any and all would be fantastic.
Nice. So cool. Thank you, guys.
We'll keep an eye out for you in the Northeast, around the Baltimore, Washington area, and if you're out, we'll come say hey, and we'll check out that fretless thing, man.
Man.
I gotta see one of those things one of these days.
It's mind-boggling to me.
Totally. Cool. Well, Ron, thank you so much for taking the time. Man. Have a great rest of the, I guess it's evening for you. It's evening for us as well.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for having me on. Thank you to all the listeners that are listening. Wish you all wonderful holidays. And I guess it's too soon to even say, and a great 2017. It's not quite December yet. Not for another couple of hours.
Well, by the time this goes up, it will be.
It will be.
All right. Well, have a wonderful 2017. And
perfect.
Put on my It's a Wonderful Life voice. Keep your crummy bank. Yeah.
There you go. Well,
oh, man.
Happy holidays right back to you, Ron. And I hope 2017 kicks ass for you.
And for you guys, too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Have a great one. Thanks.
You too. Bye-bye.
And there you have the story. The story of Bumblefoot.
Wow.
He's done a lot, man. He just keeps going.
He's got a very, very creative mind.
Well,
and we've probably heard him more than we can even imagine.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Playing-wise? In different, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, he goes all the way from the soulful stuff all the way to just blazing like a machine, man. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
You usually get one flavor or you get the other, but you never really get both, and that cat can do it.
Yeah, jack of all, man.
Yeah,
That's
man.
Awesome. That's great.
So until next time, my friend.
Because, well, can there be a next time? There's only one. We'll have to interview somebody else that's not named Bumblefoot. But
I'm Mick Marcelino.
And I'm delirious.
And we're always saying
onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @Amps and Axes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage, ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.
Everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal of Art of Anarchy, Metal Allegiance, X Guns N' Roses, Bumblefoot, and many other things. That sucked. Let's do that again. Hello, everybody. Everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you are listening to Amps and Axes. My mouth got weird on that. Let me do that again. All right. It was like apps. I said apps. Okay, third time. It's the simplest thing. Here we go. Everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you are listening to Amps and Axes.